Texans, Patriots, followed by Seahawks, Vikings, and it is still preseason. You know, it's funny. I try to get myself as excited as I can because football is back. But at some point, fairly early into the process, it's like, yeah, I don't know who these guys are. And it doesn't count. It doesn't mean anything in the standings, so the stakes aren't the way they usually would be. But still, it was great to have football back. And it was great to see, as we did, for a couple of drives, one of the high-profile rookies, C.J. Stroud, the Texans quarterback, played a couple of drives, gave me a scare when he was sacked early. I thought he got his left leg caught under the individual who was bringing him down to the ground, and I thought that ankle was going to be injured, and I was very happy and relieved to see him pop right up. But, you know, we didn't get to see a whole lot of C.J. Stroud, and that's the thing. There it is right there. I really thought that was going to be an injury for him. Then on the next play, he rolls to his left, gains a few yards on 2nd and 25, and then came the capper. Oh, well, that's a good one. There's a capper later where he throws the interception on that opening drive where Jalen Mills picks it off. But he was off. You know, look, it's his first NFL action, and it doesn't count. And, you know, I mean, I'm not going to put a grade on the guy. He's still got a way to go. And, you know, the value is getting out there, being in uniform, going through the pregame machinations, and doing your best when you have a chance to play. But, you know, it's too early to say anything. It's too early to draw any conclusions. He didn't play long enough for us to really say, wow, hey, he looks the part. But, yeah, there were some rough spots. And he was in New England going against the Patriots to start his career.
Yeah, I mean, that's not an ideal place probably to start your first game, even if it is an exhibition game that doesn't count. And frankly, I don't know that the Texans really set him up for success. And I say that because he didn't have his 2 starting tackles out there with him. So when it's like, okay, you only see 2 drives and you think CJ Stroud needs to play more because he does, because he's a rookie. But then you see that his 2 tackles aren't there. And on that sack that you were talking about, the right tackle absolutely whiffs on the block. And that's why he's in the backfield so quickly. And then the other problem there is that there are no real solutions built into the play because it's a 2-man route that's supposed to have max protection. And it seems like they were maybe trying to take a shot there. And I don't know exactly what the play that was called. And I don't have access to the coach's film, you know, especially of a preseason game that happened, you know, on August 10th. So that's one thing or another. But if you look at that play closely, that to me is where it's like, man, I don't know if the Texans coaching staff really did the best job there for him, because if you're playing without your 2 starting tackles, the right tackle whiffs, there's no solution for you to get rid of the ball quickly. I mean, this is not going to go particularly well for you. And so that's why, to me, it's kind of like, all right, well, at a certain point, yeah, just get him out of there so that he doesn't get hurt, right? Or so that nothing else negative exactly happens. So, I mean, it's not really an impressive debut, but I don't know how impressive it's going to be when you don't have your 2 starting tackles out there with you. You're just not necessarily in the best position to make plays.
Let's hear it straight from 2 of the most relevant individuals to the conversation as to whether or not C.J. Stroud was happy with what occurred last night. Head coach DeMeco Ryans in his first NFL game, and Stroud talking after the game ended. I was going to say, who won that game? I don't even know. Oh, Texans won. So they won. So be happy, DeMeco Ryans and C.J. Stroud. There it is. I see it right now. I had forgotten. Here they are talking about it. It
says here on the card.
Thought he moved around well. Went to the right place with the ball a couple times, you know, and it was good to see him move out of the pocket and try to make some things happen there. We know we have some things to clean up front. I don't want him having to move as much, but we all have things to clean up and get better at. But I thought it was a good first outing, good look at live action, so I thought it was good for him.
Just wish I didn't do one mistake on one certain play, but other than that, thought I played solid. It felt good to get hit again. And just get back in the groove. I just think that preseason, that's what preseason is for. It's important just to get back and put your feet back in the water. So, I'm not super excited how I played. Didn't get to play a lot, but just get my feet in the water, learn from my mistakes, and just keep growing.
You mentioned that one throw you like back. What you learn from that? What you see?
Just trust my eyes. I seen a certain look to where I knew in film that they could run that to where the safety, if his man blocks, that he'll come off and really be locked into my eyes, and just lost track of that, and just forced it. Should have just checked it down to Dalton, but it was a great play by Tube. I kind of just hiding out. He kind of was ducking low, so I didn't really see him. Thought I threw a good pass, but of course it wasn't. So hell of a play by number 2, and just put that in my back pocket and learn from it. So.
Yeah, number 2 is Jalen Mills. Impressive that there's some film study before these preseason games, although Bill Belichick apparently rope-a-doping C.J. Stroud, and who knows how much affirmative effort was put in to trying to fool C.J. Stroud going into this game. But I want to go back to something you said earlier, because at a certain point, when you don't have enough of your starting offensive linemen, you really are taking a bit of a reckless chance with the most important player in your franchise. And it's probably smart they got him out of there after a couple of drives. I don't know if they intended to play him longer than that, but that's always one of the concerns. Can the quarterback protect himself, and can we protect him with the guys that we have on the field? That's why you'll often see if the rookie, the most cherished possession from the most recent draft, isn't the starter, and that doesn't happen very often anymore. You don't want to put him out there behind the backup offensive line for very long in training camp. So that's an intriguing balance that you got to strike between getting your guy ready and possibly getting in a position where he's not going to be ready because he's got some injury that he's dealing with to start the season.
Yeah, Mike, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I just didn't really like the approach that they were taking last night. I mean, if you're going to put somebody out there who needs the snaps, I understand that, your tackles, they're veterans. They don't necessarily need the snaps, but you want your guy to be working with the guys he's going to be working with. And especially as an offensive line, that thing is a unit. So if you're having the starting interior line play with 2 dudes that they're not necessarily used to working with, yeah, sometimes that's good because it means that other guys are going to get reps, and yeah, you got to get used to that and But I just don't like the principle of sending the number 2 overall pick, somebody who you want to be the face of the franchise. You don't send him out there to play a Bill Belichick defense, and he's almost got one hand tied behind his back. I don't like the principle of it. I also don't really like the principle of just kind of taking that shot down deep. At least that's what it looked like in that particular situation where the sack comes, because then that ruins the entire drive. So it's like, what's exactly going on here? What's the approach? And I think, some of that comes with you have a first-time head coach, right? You got a first-time offensive coordinator, and everybody's got to learn exactly what the right things to do are. So not everything is going to go exactly smoothly. So you're probably right in you needed to get him out of there at that point. And as we look at the pick again, it's like, okay, the windows are smaller here now, CJ Stroud, than they were when you were in college, right? Maybe that's a completion in college because, you see where he's doing, you see he gets the top of that. But when it's 3rd and 20 plus, just take the check down. You're back in so far in negative territory. You take the check down and let your special teams and defense do the work at that point. But that's not a throw you need to be making at the NFL level.
I think that's a completion in college only if they move the nose tackle to safety for that play, because Jalen Mills was lurking there the entire time, ready to pounce on it. It wasn't even a great play by him. It was right to him. He jumped right onto it, and it shows you not only are the windows smaller, but you better be aware of where everybody is. You develop an instinct over time based upon the pre-snap looks and your film study and just your overall instinct where those guys are going to move to the moment you get the ball in your hands, and you need to have that constant, not just peripheral vision, but your entire field of vision. You need to be seeing just where those bodies are moving, which way, and you need to know, and you need to be able to trust what you think you see, and obviously early for C.J. Stroud. I really don't like the amount of contact he took, running the ball, the hit that he took.
Yeah.
And the thing that made me extra sensitive about that original hit, if we can show it again, there's been so much talk about the hip drop tackle and that technique of putting your weight onto the legs of the player as you bring him to the ground. And they haven't taken the hip drop tackle out of the game, and that's basically where you just grab the guy and you fall down on him instead of tackling him, you just use your weight to pull him down and you land on him, and his leg can get twisted up and his ankle can get sprained or broken. You see all that weight land on C.J. Stroud's legs. That's why that left leg, I was like, uh-oh, there it went. And fortunately for him, it didn't. But that's the kind of thing that just makes you very concerned about the long-term health and well-being of a quarterback. He's got to avoid getting himself in situations like that. He's got to not run the ball into traffic like he did and get hit. I mean,
that sack is not him needing to avoid I mean, that's the right tackle needing to block. Right? Get in front of your man and freaking make a block. You're a pro. So like, I hear you, but like, let's not put that one on CJ Stroud. That one isn't on him.
No.
He didn't have a solution either. I mean, so it's like
the solution is
his back foot, the solution is right tackle make a block.
The solution is when the right, and this isn't something you're going to know in your first preseason game. This is something you're going to learn for when you go down the stretch, so you stay healthy, so you don't break your ankle. The next time that happens, get your ass down. Not something you're going to know to do in your first preseason game. It's part of the coaching. When it just goes to hell like that, throw the ball into the ground or get your ass down so you don't take that hit. That's my point. It's part of the learning process. Yeah. And ideally, that's what you do. The problem is you have to get a football player to not want to play football in that instance. It's the Peyton Manning. We used to see him, if the walls crumble, he goes down. And no one says anything about it. Live to play another day. I saw that. I have that half second of, is he going to get up? And, it's just part of what C.J. Stroud is going to learn. But, long way to go. And it's one of the reasons why we don't know and we won't know how these young quarterbacks are going to do until they get into the games that count and until they have a chance to overcome some early adversity. You don't get. That's the problem with preseason. It's like you're in a boxing match and you get through round one and you got hit a couple times, but you're starting to get the feel for it and you want to keep going, and they yank you out of the game. Remember how perturbed Michael Parsons was the Hall of Fame game a couple of years ago? That he wanted to keep playing. It's like, I'm just getting started. I want to be out there. I want to play the game, and this is something C.J. Stroud's never done at any level of football. Preseason is new for these guys who don't have the preseason is you beat up on Middle Tennessee State. You still at least play the full game when you're in college and when you're in high school. You play the full game unless you're up 42-3. So, it's part of the process for Stroud. And I feel like of the three guys taken in the top four, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson, Stroud is the one we're going to be paying the least attention to because we have zero expectations for the Texans. They're the one team in the AFC that you would look to and say they have no chance. They have no chance this year. Not with all those teams in the AFC. In the NFC, maybe they would. In the AFC, no chance. So I don't know how, and then that's good for him. We're not going to be super hypercritical of everything he does this year. And how many times are we going to see a Texans game in a standalone spot where we could break down everything he does into the evening and the next morning and really focus on him? We're not going to get a whole lot of C.J. Stroud this year from a national perspective. And, we see how he develops and grows. But you're right. First-time head coach, first-time offensive coordinator, first-time quarterback. Not your typical recipe for success at the quarterback position in the NFL.
It's not. It's a tough situation for C.J. Stroud. And, I mean, I don't mean that in, like, a horrible way. Like, oh, my gosh, there's no way he's going to have any success. I don't think that that's true either. Because, I mean, I believe in DeMeco Ryans as a head coach. I do. I don't think that there's any reason to think he's going to be a bad head coach. I don't think that there's any reasons to think Slowick is going to be a bad offensive coordinator either. But at a certain point, it's kind of like, well, there are going to be some growing pains, and that's going to be okay as long as you actually grow out of them, right? You can't just have this where it's going to be all bad all the time. You need to see growing each week and every single week. You got to be able to stack these building blocks. What is the goal for the Houston Texans this year? Or Daniel Jeremiah talking about this before the game on NFL Network, right? It's not necessarily, oh no, they need so many wins. It's, can they get better each and every week, right? Are you starting to see the foundation of C.J. Stroud being an actual franchise quarterback? And as long as you get those kinds of things throughout the course of the regular season, then Houston's going to be okay. But I mean, that last night, probably a night to forget if we're going to talk about, what the Texans are trying to build here.
And the bottom line, we're not going to be seeing a whole heck of a lot from Stroud unless they play their way into prime time, whether it's Sunday night, Monday night, or possibly Thursday night now that the 3 flexing windows are open. One bright spot for the Houston Texans, a guy who played at the University of Houston under Dana Holgorsen, third-round pick Tank Dell, targeted 8 times last night, 5 catches for 65 yards, and the highlight of the night with the touchdown that he caught late in the first half. There's been some buzz about Tank Dell, and hey, this is a team that has a lot of young guys and a lot of people who need to prove themselves. And Tank Dell checked the box in a positive way last night with the work that he did. And of course, that's going to be a guy now that people are paying attention to. That's the big name rookie coming out of last night. There's that catch, the left front corner of the end zone. They took a little while to think it over, and they said, yeah, he caught that ball. And it's great concentration. You got guys all around, up against the leg, snatches it, secures it before his left leg goes out of bounds. So, something positive for the Texans last night with that extra level of excitement since he's a guy that the Texans fans are used to from his time at the University of Houston.
Well, not to take a page out of your book and be negative Nancy, but catch it the first time, man. Don't make us go to a review on the touchdown. I mean, I'm sorry. Wide receivers have got to catch the ball.
Somebody hates
the ball
exciting
is no place
plays.
where you can catch it.
Wow.
Was that really exciting?
Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't know.
Wow.
I mean,
Tell that to Lynn
interesting.
Swann in Super Bowl 10. One of the great highlights of all time. Catch it the first time, and we don't get the great highlight.
Okay, well, I don't know. I mean, if somebody catches the Immaculate Reception, if the Immaculate Reception actually was caught, then maybe we don't have that great highlight either. Sorry, Raiders fans. But I don't know. It was good to see him do some things, right, Dell, where he caught that ball over the middle and then you see him turn the Jets on like that. That's the thing that I get excited about, where you start to see a guy be able to create some stuff in space like that. Man, that's fun to watch, But, man, we're going to catch the ball. We got to catch the ball. And I'm sure that'll probably be a coaching point that he hears at some point over the next couple of days too.
Wow. Get off my lawn, Myles
Sorry.
Simmons says. Catch the ball. Catch the ball the first time. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.